So we can start. So thank you for being here today. So today I'm going to talk about analytics and analytics API, which it's, if you ask me, an important topic because it helps provide transparency over landscape, over ALM project, and talking about API to open the door to extension, integration with SAP Cloud ALM. So by the end of this session, you should have a good understanding on the new development in this area. Okay, so the agenda is rather simple. So an overview of the analytics API, then the new content we delivered, the most important feature we are delivering, and a demo, hopefully live. Not sure according to the last status because we might have an outage, so a demo. So current situation, so this is, let's say, a motivation slide for the analytics API. So this slide could have been the same 5 years ago when we started with SAP Cloud ALM. The difference is that today this slide is become closer and closer to reality. While it's never a never-ending story, as we all know, we are very close, and we have let's say we have made very good progress. So what we try to do with the analytics API, so first is to, and this is maybe the most important point, is to open the door to extension and integration. So this is true for analytics, but basically to all API, because we know that it's not like a solution manager where we can tackle all the different configuration scenarios. We have a more standard approach with Calm, a more clean core approach. So it means that when it comes to specific scenario, we have to go through the API to create extension. So analytics API lets you do that. And of course, the idea is to have a very good coverage on all the different use cases. So most of the Cloud ALM use case expose some analytics. And we want to have, let's say, a unified view, synthetic view over all these use cases. Two protocols are available. So you have the REST and the OData protocol, depending on what you want to do. The point is that both protocols expose exactly the same data. It's just a different way to access the analytics. Often we manipulate time series and aggregation, so with the specificities that those time series are rolling time periods, so we like to ask for like 8 hours, like last week, last year. So this is not, most of the time, this is how we access the data, and we also need some aggregation, back-end aggregation. Out of the box, we have two scenarios offered. That will be the SAP Analytics Cloud to create dashboard, but also the Grafana, also to create dashboard, and as another option. Finally, you can inject into Calm external, or let's say non-SAP or external data through the other kind of API as presented earlier today. If you do so, you will be able to retrieve those external data through the analytics API exactly like you do for the SAP. No difference. So this is an overview slide of the different components involved and the different scenarios I mentioned. So in the bottom, we have the Calm and the analytics API. So the different so-called analytics provider organized with build and run, so implementation, operation. Everything we see here is available. It's in the catalog. And the different scenarios I mentioned, so the two out-of-the-box scenarios, so the Analytics Cloud, the Grafana, and of course, the rest of the scenario, which can be very different depending on what you do, can be third-party application, can be custom application. So here it can be many things. we would consume REST or data depending on what we want to do. For the Grafana, we would consume the REST API, and we need a plugin called the SAP Cloud ALM plugin, which is offered as an open source. And we need to install this in Grafana to build dashboard with the mouse. For the Analytics Cloud, we consume the OData with a connection called the import connection. So it's typically a background job that is running on the SAC, and that will load all the data, copy the data from Calm to SAC. You have also the option, if you have the data sphere in your landscape, to use it as a middleware or consolidation layer for your model. Okay. So now the new content. So it's three providers we deliver. So we deliver the feature analytics in Q1, the quality gate in Q2, and in Q3 we just deliver the generic integration and monitoring analytics. So I will give more information, more details about this one. First, I would like just to show you quickly that on the L portal you will find all the information about all these different providers. So, for example, I mentioned feature analytics. It's here. You see the dimension, the measure, everything you need to know to consume those analytics are there. It's maintained. It's up to date. So you have all the information you need. So back to the presentation. Now I would like to give more information about the generic integration monitoring. So far we expose actually 14 different providers in the area of integration monitoring. So the IDOC, the web service, the Concur, they are there. But now the approach, we would like to replace this approach with this generic integration monitoring analytics. So this generic provider actually will provide access to all message type. Why we are doing this? So the main reason is we want to accelerate the release of new message types. So I mentioned that we have 14 providers today. But by switching to the generic provider, you will have access immediately to more than 50 message types. Actually, you will have access directly to all message types you can see in integration monitoring. That's why we prefer to go to this approach. And all the new development will go there in the generic version of the provider. As a side remark, it will impact also, it's a different topic, but it will impact also for those who use the raw data metrics API. It will go also in the same direction so that this API will provide more message type. So now the feature. So there are three features I would like to detail. So the first one is the dedicated OData interface. Then we have the live SAP Analytics Cloud connection, and finally the monitoring dashboard. So for the dedicated OData interface, this is actually originally there is this the generic OData interface called dataset, which there it's still there, it still works, you can still use it, but the dedicated OData here, the idea is to have one OData endpoint per provider, which is mainly easier to consume, typically from SAC. You don't have all this generic naming for the dimension and measure. You have immediately the correct dimension name and measure name. So much easier to consume and also more efficient in terms of performance. There are some improvements. And there are different advantages to use this dedicated OData endpoint. Another advantage, it's the support of the aggregation method. So some provider like the task, for example, expose some so-called aggregation method. You see here, you see the average and the sum. Those aggregation methods are not supported by the generic OData. They are supported now by the dedicated OData interface. So you can retrieve this backend aggregation from the OData. So this is the catalog. So as I mentioned, we covered last year the implementation. So all implementation providers accept now a dedicated OData interface. And this year we covered the operation. We nearly finished. We miss the business process monitoring. We just released the integration monitoring based on the generic one, the one I just mentioned. So you have access to, again, all message types through this one. Yes. And if you need, and here I will come back again to the Chrome. If you need more information, so you have the SAP help I mentioned previously, but you have also the API Hub, where if you go on SAP Cloud ALM, you will see the OData, SAP Cloud ALM Analytics. And here, the API reference, so you see on the left side, I have all details on this API. It's possible to try out live against the internet demo system. So all the information are there in the hub and also in the help portal.
Can I ask you a question?
Maybe it's better, since we are already short on time, maybe it's better to take the question after. So, sorry for that, but it's so fast. Okay. Come back to the slide. And now the live analytic cloud. So this is something that was requested by some customer that doesn't like, of course, to copy this idea of using the import connection and copy all the data from Calm to SAC. It's not always the best option. So now, with the dedicated OData interface, this scenario is supported. So what it means, this scenario, actually, you need in your landscape the SAC, and in addition, the datasphere. So prerequisite, the dedicated OData interface and the datasphere. And here we have an example of setup. You can have, of course, different setup, especially in datasphere. This is you have many possibilities there to model your data. But here, let's say it's a basic one. So on the Calm side, we have the dedicated OData interface. On the datasphere side, in the middle, we need the remote table. So this object, first, we need, of course, to establish some trust in the product, but this is easy setup. In few clicks, this is done with certificate. This is the first step. Then we need this remote table, but again, it's very easy. So Datasphere will list for you all the OData endpoint from Calm, and you just need to select the endpoint you want, and it will generate those remote tables. So now you have this remote table in your Datasphere. The next step, minimum step, let's say, is to create this analytic model, which is a semantic object which is required if you want to be visible in the SAC. Again, to generate this analytic model on top of the remote table, this is a really easy step, few clicks or everything on the mouse. And then once I have this analytic model in Datasphere, everything is trusted, I can consume the analytic model directly from the SAC story. So I don't need the model anymore. I consume directly the analytic model, and the connection is live. So no more copy, no more this kind of thing. So of course, it makes difference in terms technically. This is no more one big call to OData. This is multiple calls depending on your story. This could be multiple OData call that goes from the SAC to the CALM. So that's why, yes. Okay, and I think that's we covered that topic. The next topic, so the monitoring dashboard that was presented this morning by Carsten. So this is, of course, something that has been requested a lot, especially by customers who used to use the solution manager, like Focus Insight or even the Focus Run. So such capabilities are there. So we had this kind of request. So it's in beta version, so that's why we have the little logo labs preview here, accessible to some beta customer, and it should be released normally in Q1 next year. So here it's not API, it's application. However, it sits on the analytics API. Of course, the value is obvious. There is no setup, no integration. You build your dashboard directly in the CALM. And you can, like you do with the API, you can do the same thing, meaning mixing in the card. You can mix the data from the different use cases. So you have, again, a unified view of all your CALM use case. You have already, even in this beta version, a lot of possibility in terms of chart. So most of the common chart, like the time series, the bar chart, column chart, pie chart, and so on, are there already. Then, yes, it comes also with content. It's not empty. You get some SAP best practice content that you can use, consume immediately, or potentially copy. And the last point, important, it's the AI. So to create your custom card, we'll see what it means. You can and you must use the AI, the Joule. It's optional, but if you want to create your custom card, you must have the Joule in your landscape. Okay. The best practice, so SAP deliver, so this is also content under construction because, again, we are in beta phase. But SAP delivers some page and card. So a page, it's a combination of cards based on the different use case, the room, the health monitoring, the job, and so on. Important information, it's this monitoring dashboard concerned for the moment only operation provider, not the implementation provider. This is integrated with the shell, meaning that we need to select scope and a time range, so a scope, a set of service and system together with the time range, and this scope, this context we have in the shell will be applied to your page. So this is what is called the dynamic approach. But you can also have the static approach where you can fix a system or fix a time range on a card. For example, if I want to create a page on my S4 system with a specific time range, I can do that in the static mode. Last point, there is the jump in, which is automatically added. Depending on the content you show on the card, you will have automatically a jump in to the corresponding use case. So this is the SAP best practice. Now you can create your custom page. So custom page, it's very easy to construct. So the first step, I select the card from the catalog. So it can be SAP card or can be custom card if you have the possibility to create custom card. Then I position the card in the page. I can resize the card. And that's it. Then I'm ready to publish my page. So I publish, and there is two regarding this publication. For the moment, there is two authorizations. There is the private and the public page. So by default, the page is private, only you can see it. If I publish it in the public area, all the users will be able to see it. In the future, we would like to introduce, let's say, a more advanced concept of access control list, where you can restrict this authorization to group of users. The card. So here the card, as I mentioned, it's optional, but you need Joule if you want to create custom card. So you need your Joule tenant. You need to set up your Joule tenant with Calm, with the booster. Once you have done that, you will see in your monitoring dashboard the little Joule icon, the diamond icon, and you will be able to jump in from the monitoring dashboard to the Joule web client. So there you can create card using natural language, and the Joule will translate the natural language, non-technical language, to call to the API on the back. So translate this to the technical language. What is nice is that it's not only the textual interaction with Joule, but as you can see, you have also the chart, which is there embedded in the Joule, exactly like you see it in the Calm. And when you do modification, immediately the card is updated. I said you can create card. You can also, of course, update a card. It means that you can also copy and reuse the SAP card, use it as a template. By the way, this is something I mentioned to set. So the SAP content is delivered as template, meaning that I cannot change it. What I can do, I can copy it in my own custom namespace, modify it there, and that's the way to consume it. But I cannot change the SAP content. Last point is about the suggestion. So the Joule will, to make it easier to use, the Joule will provide some so-called suggestion. So it will propose some next step as a button so that you can use this as an example to interact with the Joule. So and now I would like to demo it. I'm not sure it will be possible to do it live, unfortunately. Sorry for that, but I experimented some technical issue. So you see here I'm in a beta tenant, so I have the authorization. I forgot to show that. I have the authorization to see the dashboard, so I have this tile here. And now I see this is an SAP page. There are more, but first things, the context I mentioned on the top. So you see you have a time frame here. It's 6 hours together with the scope. We have 3 clients selected in the scope. So this is what is applied there in the page, because all the SAP templates are in a dynamic mode. Of course, they are not tied to a specific system. Would make no sense. Everything is dynamic for SAP. Then we have this jump-in. So if we take, for example, this tile, this user tile, this one, for example, is based on real user monitoring information. So you see here I have the jump-in, and I can directly jump to the corresponding real user monitoring page to get more details. This I cannot modify. It's SAP content, but I can copy it. I will save it as a demo. And now it's become custom. Now it's private here, as you can see. I can now edit this page. I have access to the catalog, and you see there is also the SAP card together with some custom card. So I can add or remove some card from the page. It will be added there, and I can, like I said, position the card with drag and drop or I can change the size of a card. Personalization, so if I want to make this one wide, I can do this. Okay, so now I have the here in this setup the Joule is set up. So you see I have the Joule icon there. I'm not sure. I probably won't work. I will give it a try, but I can jump and open the Joule web client. Or maybe it's back. Okay, it seems to be back. So now I'm in the Joule web client. I can try something. So display metric exception. So here it's not, okay. So that won't be possible live, sorry for that. So I have only video I can show you. Hopefully, yes, videos. So what I wanted to show you is the exception scenario. Okay. So number of exception. So that's a beta version. Sorry for that. Okay, so now Joule display the metric. It uses the time range and the scope from the monitoring dashboard. So here it was started with the last 6 hours and up. Sorry, I need to stop the. Okay. Okay, so it used the time range and system from the monitoring dashboard. Here now I ask to split, to do a drill down on the dimension category. Okay, and you see now it split the different, we retrieve, here it's exception monitoring on the back. So we retrieve the different exception category. We have system log, application log, and the corresponding time series. Then we aggregate, because we aggregate the sum. So we want to, actually what we want to do here is to transform a time series in one single point, because the next step is to change the chart type, and we don't need the series anymore. So that's why we ask to aggregate the sum of all these data points. And now, yes, now we change the type of chart to donuts. And we have these donuts displayed by Joule. Once we are happy with the card, we can save it, give it a name. And I think this is the end of this video. Maybe there is one last step. Immediately when you save it from Joule, you are able to retrieve it from the catalog and display it in your monitoring dashboard. Okay, you ask me confirmation to save. Maybe, and I think this was the last, explain card. So yes, so there is this command that is interesting, is to get let's say technical information or detailed information on the card, and as a text it gives you ease understanding on your natural language command. So here we ask exception, we retrieve the drill down, the aggregation. So all the steps we have done with Joule, you can retrieve it as a text to make sure there is a good understanding. Not sure I will have time to show you. I can show you another one. Sorry if I'm a bit. The last one, the idea was to update. I have to stop.
Just say some last sentences.
Last sentences, so goodbye. Okay, thank you. Thank you for listening. Sorry for the technical issue, but it will be there. It will be there. Thank you.